For Hyperion Research, for those of you who don't recognize us, we were the IDC HPC team. We've been spun off separately. We hold all the HPC assets, the data, structures, all the research from IDC for the last 35 years as part of the company. Here are the primary team members. I'd like to introduce some of the folks. Lloyd Cohen, if you could put your hand up again, is the crowd. Steve Conway wasn't able to make it, and then Bob Sorensen is here. Also Gene Sorensen, who's our business/office manager, is in the back there. Mike Thorpe, if is also one of our sales folks, and Kirk Gantrich is right here. And Nishi is in the back also. So we have most of the team here, which is, and Alex Norton. Where is Alex? There is Alex, okay. So as you've probably seen this before, but just very briefly, what we try to do as an organization, we do try to track everything sold every quarter. So every system, that's kind of the core data set going back for the last 30 years. It's fairly extensive tracking. It's everything from the location, country, CPUs, architecture, price tags of the system, so on, applications running on the system. We also have to publish over 85 research reports a year in various topic areas. The other red areas are the new things that we've added over the last few years. We do a lot of tracking. We have a specific program where HPC and big data come together, HPDA. Underneath that, we also include all the AI, machine learning, and deep learning research that we do. We've just announced this year a more formalized version of our cloud tracking. We've been tracking clouds prior to that grids, for over a decade, but we've formalized that. Alex is taking the lead on that part, and we will be publishing soon, hopefully in the next few weeks, our actual sizing of what the HPC cloud market is, along with the 5-year forecast. The other new area we have is quantum computing, which Bob is leading right now, which you'll see some interesting things. Our spring meeting, we focus very heavily on quantum computing. We're looking at actually holding a number of separate quantum computing meetings in different countries around the world. So there'll be a smaller group meeting just on quantum computing. So some of the top trends as far as what's going in the market. The first half of 2018 is looking very strong. If you remember 2017, the first 3 quarters were very weak, and then the fourth quarter came in extremely strong, while first quarter this year was extremely strong, second quarter looks healthy. So it looks like 2018 may be an extremely strong year, much stronger than our original forecasts were. Now when we've looked at this, both within HPC and then servers outside of HPC, there's also another mega growth area right now, and that is all the cloud providers, the Amazons, the Googles, Yahoos, Alibaba, and that. From our speculation, we think in the last maybe 3 quarters, each one of them have doubled in size. So there's just been a massive growth that's taken place, and that makes it a little hard for us to then unravel, what's HPC, not HPC, and so on. So this is how the market looked in 2017. Again, it hit another record growth year of just over $12 billion. The supercomputer segment still is in that kind of roller coaster mode. And you'll see in our new forecast, since we do 5-year forecast, the supercomputer segment will show the highest growth on that part. We also include the 2017 market by the different verticals. We now have a number of verticals that are over $1 billion and 2 of them that are over $2 billion a year itself. So just tremendous growth here. We also are showing our vendor shares. And everyone will get a copy of these slides. So this is comparing 2016 to 2017. You'll notice we've been mentioning massive changes in vendor positions and everything else. We do welcome Penguin. Penguin has agreed to let their numbers be shared more openly. We hope to see a few more of the vendors in the other category. In the other category, we have around 38, 39 different separate vendors that we're tracking. And so we're hoping to get more of those to allow us to show publicly their results. And here's the market by North America, EMEA, Asia Pacific, Japan, and the rest of the world. We did shift over about 8 years ago where we're tracking 29 separate countries. So if you're interested in what an individual country is doing, just shoot us an email and we'll let you know. And as I mentioned before, on the forecast side, 2022 is kind of a magic year, so to speak. We're expecting that that's where we may install the large post-K system, somewhere between $800 million to $1 billion. We also expect to see maybe a system in Europe or 2, 1 or 2 in the US, and 1 or 2 in China, all in the same year. And that's why we're showing a very healthy growth rate here of about 14.5%, which drives the overall market to be closer to a 10% growth rate over the next 5-year period. The one thing we always caution people is when you do 5-year growth rates, it's always a starting point and end point. And if you get a low end point, your growth is going to look high. And if you have a high, low starting point versus a high end point. And we're in a case right now where we have an average starting point but a very high end point on this part. So we think the underlying growth is still more in the 7% range overall if you look at it individually. And then here's how the broader market looks when you include storage, middleware applications, and repair services. Again, it roughly doubles the size of the market. And we see about 9.6% overall growth when you look at the whole ecosystem of the market, with storage still being the highest growth rate area. And as I've mentioned a number of times before, the one part in the market that, and we do all these studies and surveys that we're trying to figure out, is the storage vendors and the amount of storage being sold grows dramatically. But the storage vendors are not very healthy or successful from a profitability viewpoint. It's a very difficult market to make much money in for the storage vendors. And we're trying to figure out, given this underlying growth, is there a point in time where it gets better for the storage vendors? And here's our release of our machine learning, deep learning, and AI forecast. Again, for each of these, we have a lot of definitions. If you want the detailed definitions, because some people call everything today deep learning. We don't view most of what's going on today as deep learning. Most of it's machine learning. But we're expecting that over the next 5-year period, about half what's going on in this segment will be deep learning as compared to machine learning.